160, and in some cases getting payments. So somebody's getting the payments, and we're after that. We're also fighting the menace of inflation to make life more affordable for American seniors, and we've ended Biden's inflation nightmare. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now our inflation is down to a perfect number, a beautiful number, hardly any at all. And yet our country's taking in tens of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, actually trillions of dollars in tariffs. And you know all about it. It's been amazing. They say, why are we taking in so much money? Last week they found $29 billion and they couldn't figure out where it came from. I said, check the tariff sheet. And they said, how did you know that's where it came from? We're taking in billions and even trillions of dollars in tariffs, paid by other countries who, frankly, were taking advantage of us for many, many years. And they were doing that to us, but our people didn't know it. We didn't have smart business people. We've ended Biden's inflation nightmare and came in below expectations, and yet again this past month we set records. Gasoline prices are way down, and really dramatically, as everybody knows, and energy prices have been going down, other than in certain states where you have Democrat-run states where they put windmills all over the place. Anytime you see a windmill, you'll say, well, they have bad energy costs, and it's happening in New Jersey. I saw that there's a revolution going on in New Jersey. They closed up a nuclear power plant, and they're raising electricity rates by 21, 22, and 28%, something like that. And you're going to have a new governor in New Jersey. I tell you what, you have a good man running in the Republican Party. He'll get them down. But what they've done is they've killed so many good sources of energy for very expensive windmills and lots of other things that don't work. 401ks and retirement accounts are soaring, and the stock market is setting record highs. Almost every day we're going record highs, and yet we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. A few smart people. Right. So we're going to keep the fighting going. We're going to make America's seniors every single day. We're going to fight for them. We're going to make them richer, better, stronger in so many different ways. But Social Security is like pretty much the one that we think about, and we love it, and we love what's happening with it. And it's going to be good for 90 years and beyond. Again, you were given only a short period of time. Social Security was supposed to be like down. Had they won the election, they would have defaulted during Biden or Kamala's election, whoever they so chose. Two beauties. And now what I'd like to do is ask Frank to say a few words. This is a really storied past. He's one of the most successful anywhere in the world. What he did at J.P. Morgan Chase and what he did for Henry, all of the others are like legendary. He just did this. He's made a tiny fraction, I would say, a tiny fraction, but he didn't care. He wanted to do it. He made a lot of money. And he said, I want to run that system. I want to put it back on track. And he's got unbelievable talent over there. And it's like a different place. So, Frank, would you say a few words, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
There's less than 1% tiny fractions.
Is that what it is? Less than one? That's a tiny
It's
fraction.
an honor.
He's
It's an honor. It is an honor. And I'd like to start off by thanking the president for his tireless effort in running the country and what he's done across the country, meeting every commitment. And, you know, I see it directly in the big, beautiful bill, the opportunity that is brought to seniors. But his effort on every commitment, delivering against it, and delivering on world peace tirelessly. I'd like to also thank him for my opportunity. You know, he teased me, I'm teasing him about the economics of the job, but the reality is to serve 300 million Americans, which is what Social Security serves, is a tremendous honor. And building what I believe, and I think I ever said, is the best leadership team. So I come here and get the opportunity to serve the American public in a manner People talk about 72 beneficiaries. I talk about over 300 million Americans with a social security number that we must protect through the system. And when you look at what we talk about in eliminating social security numbers that were live in the system, they can carry fraud through the whole system. So the first thing was root out fraud, waste, and abuse. But while doing it, the best way to be more efficient is provide more accurate payments and better service. And you heard the numbers. I think the most staggering number is that we had a website that was down 29 hours. This will be a digital first agency, and we are building my SSA accounts. That's account. And we have a bold goal of 200 million Americans to have a digital SSA account by the end of next year. It will happen. Just like we had a bold goal of single digit wait time on the calls when they were at 40 minutes. And we did that. This is my 100th day. We did that within 90 days, right? Get the web up and running, bring technology to our field offices, use digital presence to answer and serve the American public. That's the job. When we do all that, then we'll really know the answer to if we have a hole, right? I was presented my second week on the job with $18 billion in errors by the Inspector General. It was public. In less than a month, we solved 9 billion of it. So that's the type of swift action we can take, right?
Look at all the cows.
You see things like the big beautiful bill for the seniors. You see better digital services. You see field office wait times down.
So
if
many
you make
cows.
an appointment to have a field office visit, it now happens in 6 minutes. Unprecedented. We are serving more people and delivering more than was ever delivered before in a manner with the highest possible quality, and we've just begun. You should expect this to be a great digital first agency. My commitment to make this happen is as deep as the president's to make the world a great place. And you see the fabulous job happening here across America and what he's doing in the world. You should expect Social Security, just like the president. I thank him for making America great again. It's happening. Social Security will be great again. You have my commitment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, President. I'm going to sign the new proclamation, please.
Sir, this is a proclamation both commemorating the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, the signing of the Social Security Act, and also the incredible accomplishments of your administration and promoting and safeguarding Social Security. And it also obviously mentions the fact that as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, a vast majority of our senior citizens are no longer paying taxes on their Social Security benefits, as you promised in your campaign and as you delivered for the American people.
That's a big factor, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's great. I think they're very happy about it, too. They're very happy about a lot of things. Good job, Frank.
Thanks, sir.
You can hear him signing.
With them some of the most
Using an auto pen.
They were making, again, they're making a lot of money, but they made a lot of money. They had
Sign
money. They didn't
stuff
have
with
to
his
make
own
any money. They
hands.
just want to do this. They want to have our country
God bless you,
become
President Trump.
strong and good, and that's what's happening. And we're doing that in a lot of locations, a lot of areas. You deal with some of the people that are commissioners, that are secretaries of state, secretaries of treasury, of commerce, people that were really, really successful people, and they gave all that up to make a very small amount of money. They don't even consider it a fraction. You say 1%, less than 1%. That's pretty good. That's a big pay cut. But Frank is one of the most outstanding of all. His career has been incredible, and you just have to look at what happened at J.P. Morgan Chase and look at what happened with First Data. First Data was the biggest company of its kind in the world, but it was not going to make it. He went in, and it became a tremendous success and merged into another company, and he became the head of that company. Then he said, let me go save Social Security. Because as big as that stuff is, it's small potatoes compared in terms of numbers, right? In terms of numbers, these are big numbers. Government numbers are big numbers. So I want to thank everybody for being here, but I'm really proud of you, Frank. And here's your proclamation. And let's take a look at what that looks like. Signed by the human hand. For a change.
Yep.
That's good, right? Do you have any questions for Frank? How about questions for Frank? For Frank?
President?
Yes, Social Security.
Please.
The first Agenda 47s that you put out entitled why was this important for both of you to get done and give it back that will impact millions of lives?
Well, it was a very important because I knew how Social Security, I've been hearing about it for years, long before I came to office, that it was really going to die shortly, and I had to put somebody outstanding in, and we were talking once, and he said, I'd love to help you with Social Security entities in terms of turns them around, and he did some of the biggest messes in the world, and Social Security in a certain way, I guess, you reported it all the time, and 5 years ago, but now, and he's got it turned around so well. The proclamation helps, all of the things we've done help, and he's finding such tremendous fraud where we have illegal aliens. We have people that don't even exist on Social Security now. They don't exist. And what it does, it makes it
People
totally
who
secure
don't
and powerful
exist
for people that
are on
it
Social
and need it.
Security. Did you
And,
hear that?
Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren continue to peddle the lie and the claim that you're trying to cut Social Security, despite your repeated promises to protect it. Why do you think they keep pushing this misinformation and literally terrorizing the elderly in America that sadly keep watching the very misleading mainstream media?
I love your question. I should have called you almost first, but I love his questions also.
Good question.
But it's such a good question. It's so vicious what they do.
What's with all the
Elizabeth
lies?
Warren, and she was able to get certain jobs in certain universities to work. She's a lie. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City, and she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way somebody can act that way and be normal. She's
Florida.
She destroys people. Do you know that you had a lot of great banks in the Midwest and banks that loaned to farmers and others, and they went out of business? She put them out of business. Stone cold mean. Banks that were open 150 years, family banks that supplied the farmers and manufacturers and others, and she put them out of business. She's a mean, horrible human being. Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I don't mind him so much. He's just a liberal guy, very liberal guy. He's a wacky guy.
Orange
He's still sharp.
Grove.
I gotta tell you, he's
Orange
86 or
Grove.
87 or something. He's still sharp. You compare that to Joe Biden.
Where the oranges
sort
grow.
of what happened. So I don't mind Bernie Sanders. With him, you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy. He's a nasty guy, but he's somebody that I don't know if I call it a fastball, but he's able to throw the ball pretty well. He's okay. I watched him the other day. He was totally on the opposite
outside
side
of
of things. I will
Arcadia,
say
Florida.
this. The biggest issue right now, and an issue that's really taken hold, is crime, stopping crime in the city. And the
I
Democrats
could lose you.
are fighting the stopping of crime. So I think that's like men playing in women's sports is okay, or transgender for everybody okay. But this is a bigger issue. This is the biggest of all issues. Crime is rampant in D.C. It's rampant in our generally blue run city. And they've got to do something about it, and they're never going to say Trump's a dictator. Trump's a dictator. Well, I had calls from many, many friends, including Democrats. I have a lot of Democrat friends, but they're normal people. And they were thanking me so much for what they're so sad. And at the border, we had 0 people come in, and this is done by a liberal group. They're the people that do it. I have nothing to do with it. 0 people in 3 months. We had 0, 0, and 0 for 3 months. And last year we had millions of people pouring in from all countries, from jails, from drug addicts, gang members, drug dealers by the thousands and thousands. 11,888 murderers, half of whom committed more than one murder. They flowed into our country, and for the last 3 months we had none. And I didn't remember when Joe Biden used to always go, I need legislation. I had no legislation. I just said we're closing the borders, and the whole world understood it because they respect your country again. They really respect this country again. They didn't respect it. When he said it, it didn't mean anything. But now they know it meant a lot. And Mexico does what we tell them to do, and Canada does what we tell them to do, because we have the two borders. We have the northern border, the southern border, and they were both horrible. But now it's some people say it's a miracle. Well, what Frank has done with Social Security also is something very special. But what we're doing with crime, which will be your next question, I guess, that's because everyone's they're afraid. Half of the people here, maybe all of the people here, most of you live in D.C., you are petrified to go out. And you're liberal, and if you're liberal, you're going to have to change. You're Democrats, you're going to have to change your ways. So we will have crime under control very shortly in D.C., but they're record numbers, and sadly, what I guess the mayor did, but whoever it was, they asked the numbers to be fudged so that it would show less crime than the fact. The fact is, it's worse than it's ever been, and we will have it just like we did at border, where borders are totally in great shape right now, the best ever, record-setting shape. We'll have the crime situation solved in D.C. very soon, and we're also going to beautify the city. We have a beautiful city. But you can't have graffiti, and you can't have roads with potholes, and you can't have the medians, the dividers in the roads falling down on the street. We're going to be beautifying the city, making it really beautiful. We're going to be getting the criminals the hell out of here. We don't want the criminals in Washington, D.C.
Mr. President, one on your Putin meeting and then one on D.C. crime. Are you prepared to offer Vladimir Putin access to rare minerals to incentivize him to end the war?
We're going to see what happens with our meeting. We have a big meeting. It's going to be, I think, very important for Russia, and it's going to be very important for us, and important for us only that we're going to save a lot of lives. Look, we have, we're not paying any money, as you know, to Ukraine. We're supplying equipment. We're being paid 100% plus for the equipment by NATO. And I got from 2% to 5% of GDP. They now have billions of dollars. NATO is a very rich group of countries, and we make the best military equipment anywhere in the world by far. And they're buying our equipment, and they're paying 100% for the equipment, 100%. In fact, they owe us about $2 billion now. They're going to send a check. Another one sent me $1 billion. So we're not spending any money anymore. Biden gave them $350 billion, got nothing for it. And if you look, and by the way, we also signed a rare earth deal where we get, years of rare earth to get our money back, the money we spent. But what I'm really doing this for is to save thousands of soldiers a week. You have Russian soldiers, you have Ukrainian soldiers, and then you'll have missiles dropped into various cities and towns in Ukraine. And they're losing last week they lost 7,251 people, mostly soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. I'm doing it for that reason. We have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. It's I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace.
Check out Little Arcadia, Florida. It's super
We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. I've solved 6 wars in the last 6 months, a little more than 6 months now. And I'm very proud of it. I thought the easiest one would be this one. It's actually the most difficult. We had one war raging, as you know, for 37 years. One in the Congo with Rwanda was raging for 31 years. We solved 6 of them, made peace, not just solved them, we made peace. If you look at Pakistan and India, planes were being knocked out of the air.
Some pretty
6 or 7
dismal
planes
looking
came
homes,
down.
though.
They were ready to go, maybe nuclear, and we solved that. I thought this would be maybe an easier one. It never made sense, this war. It would have never happened when I was president. If I were president, this war would have never happened. But millions of people have been killed. And I'm there for one reason, to see if I can solve. This was Biden's war. This isn't my war. I want to see if I can stop the killing. Yeah.
But rare earths, do you plan to
Full of
offer
Mexicans.
access to that at all?
We have great
People
rare
that speak
earth.
Spanish.
We made that as payment for all of the money that we've spent so foolishly in Ukraine. We spent $350 billion. Now Europe spent $1 billion. That's a lot of money. They spent $100 billion. That's a lot of money. But we shouldn't be spending a lot more money than them, and they understand that. And I think that's maybe why we're not spending money anymore. We're not spending any money. They're paying us for everything. So it's people are shocked when they hear it. They don't even understand. They don't even write about it. But we're not spending money, but we are spending a lot of time trying to get the war solved. If we can get the war solved, we'll be very happy. As far as rare earth, that's very unimportant relative. I'm trying to save lives.
On DC crime, sir. On
On
DC
DC
crime.
crime, do you have a message for the Democrat lawmakers like Nancy Pelosi or media who are saying, after living here for many years, that there is no crime and you're trying to start a new news cycle?
It's another reason why
There's
the
some cool
Democrats
stuff
lost the
coming up.
election in a landslide. They lie. It's just why. Look, the crime is very bad. I think they'd be much better off saying, we want to help President Trump with the crime because it's an epidemic. It's a tragic situation. It's the worst it's ever been. And we want to help President Trump with the crime, as opposed to, he's a dictator.
Check out this mural.
People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out. As you know, we arrested a lot of people yesterday. We arrested a lot of people today. We're getting people that have arrest records that you wouldn't believe. 28 arrests, 15 arrests, brutal people. And we're going to have to do something about this cashless bail, because people shoot somebody, they kill somebody, and they're out on the street in less than an hour. Now, that's when it's all started in New York, in Chicago, Los Angeles. You take a look. If we didn't go to Los Angeles to help this incompetent governor and a mayor that doesn't know what the hell she's doing, if we didn't go to Los Angeles, you wouldn't have a big part of it burned down. The other part of it would have burned down too. You would have not had, I don't think you would have been able to have the Olympics. We have the Olympics. I have a lot at stake with that because I'm the one that got the Olympics. I got it in my first term, and I was saddened because I got it for what would be my third term, okay, which turned out to be a second term. And the Olympics, it's a great honor, but I felt badly because I said I won't be president when the Olympics came. Well, through circumstance, I am president. I want to make sure the Olympics is great, the World Cup is great, and the 250, maybe the most important of all, is the 250-year celebration is great. So what's happening is we will work very hard. You would not have had, I don't believe that if I didn't send in the troops, I don't think you would have had Los Angeles in condition to have the Olympics. I think you would have had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go someplace else. And if you look at the police commissioner or the sheriff, he said, we really needed them. Thank God they were here. We really needed them. That was the first 2 or 3 days after we solved their problems. Then he said, well, I think we could have maybe done it. No, he was told what to say. He said, you go back to your files and see what he said. He said, thank goodness they came. If I didn't go and put our military there, or National Guard in that case, and we'll go military if we have to, but the National Guard went there. They were very effective. If we didn't do that, I don't think you would have had the Olympics in Los Angeles. The place would have been allowing millions and millions. I think 24 million people were allowed to come into our country. Many of these people from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions. This was the Biden policy. And I don't believe it was him. He was never there before. It was the people that encircled this very beautiful desk, the Resolute desk. Radical left lunatics who were smart.
This is Arcadia,
radical
Florida.
Left. And I'm very happy to hear what you just said, because I've heard that.
And Mr. President, on LA, if I may, the mother of a 15-year-old California boy was briefly detained at gunpoint, mistaken identity. The LAUSD superintendent says that surveillance video shows armed agents wearing police and border patrol insignia. Given the National Guard, the Border Control, ICE agents, they're not trained in local policing. What specific steps are you taking to ensure that young people are not put in harm's way with these types of operations?
Yeah, what they are trained in is common sense, and they're very tough people. and they have great common sense, and they are highly trained. I heard the mayor of LA was saying, "Oh, they're not trained this way." I heard this character from where was he from? They talk about him as a candidate. He's got no chance. The governor of Maryland. I watched him this morning saying that the governor of Maryland. Yeah, they say maybe he'll be a president. He's not presidential timber at all. But I heard him today talking about how the National Guard or the military is not trained in police, but they're trained in common sense, and they're trained in not allowing people to burn down buildings and bomb buildings and shoot people and all of the things. They've done a great job. Again, if we didn't send them, and very importantly, if we didn't send them into Los Angeles, the rest of Los Angeles, Brazil, trading partner in terms of tariffs. As you know, they charge us tremendous tariffs, far, far more than we were charging them. We weren't charging anything, essentially. And Brazil has some very bad laws happening. They took a president and they put him in jail, or they're trying to jail him, and they happen to the man. And we'll tell you, I'm pretty good at people. I think he's an honest man. I think what they've done, this political execution with Bolsonaro, terrible. But they also treated us very badly, trading partners, for many, many years. One of the worst countries on earth for that. They charged tremendous tariffs. Made it very difficult to do anything. So now they're being charged 50% tariffs, and they're not happy, but that's the way it goes.
Mr. President, on DC crime, sir, on DC crime, are you concerned at all that some federal DC police hold other high priority assignments?
Like what? Like what?
Terrorism.
Really? Terrorism? They'll stop terrorism as part of what they're doing right now. No. The soldiers that we have, first of all, we have plenty of them, long beyond what that you have here. We're a very small force. You know, in Washington, police, but the police weren't allowed to do their job. We had the great ones, and you have some that weren't so good, to be honest, but they weren't allowed to do the job. Essentially, it's only 2 days, but you look at the numbers already, they're dropping. And no, they're not being pulled off for anything.
Mr. President, as you know, there were some very concerning reports about crime statistics. Police are in
crime-free city, and these are strong men, but the beating, and they pounded the hell out of him. He's lucky to be alive. He's barely, almost killed. And we're not going to have that happening, please.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified more documents last night related to the Russiagate hoax.
She's doing a great job, by the way. That was a story. I'm very happy with the job she's doing. That's right. They declassified some terrible documents talking about Democrats and what they did. Radical left lunatics.
It showed that DNI James Clapper sent out emails to IC officials saying that it would be a team sport to push them to debunked the 2017 ICA report, and that it might lead them to compromise on their normal modalities. What's your reaction to the latest declassification? And in your view, sir, what does real accountability look like for the players?
It's incredible what we're finding. Absolute proof of guilt. And we'll see what happens. But Clapper and Comey and that whole group of criminals, they're criminals. And they made it very tough. You know, they did the Russia witch hunt that lasted for 2 years. And I get totally exonerated out of it. They should have done it in 1 day, not 2 years. But it was a whole scheme to try and demean Trump so that I couldn't win an election. And that is a criminal group of people. They're sick people, and they're criminals, and they should be taken care of.
Facts. Thank you, President Trump.
Well, he came to our country, and I heard CNN fake news talking about that was a big win for him. Normally, you would say the opposite, but they said, oh, it's a big win that he came here. Normally, we'd say the opposite, he came here. I think that President Putin would like to see a deal. I think if I weren't president, he would take over all of Ukraine. It's a war that should have never happened. If I weren't president, in my opinion, he would much rather take off take over all of Ukraine, but I am president, and he's not going to mess around with me.
On Russia, Mr. President, would you support or agree to reducing NATO troops in Europe, in countries like Poland, in order to get Russia to agree to a peace deal?
That hasn't been put before me, and I'll think about that for later, but it has not been put before me. Go ahead.
Is anything less than an unconditional and immediate ceasefire a victory for the U.S.?
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, tomorrow we'll see. I say, I don't know where that comes from. It's sort of not a good question. I would say that tomorrow, all I want to do is set the table for the next meeting, which should happen shortly. I'd like to see it happen very quickly, very shortly after this meeting. I'd like to see it actually happen maybe in Alaska, where we just stay, because it's so much easier. But I think that it's going to be very interesting. We're going to find out where everybody stands, and I'll know within the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. So we tend to find out whether or not we're going to have a good meeting or a bad meeting. And if it's a bad meeting, it'll end very quickly. And if it's a good meeting, we'll end up getting peace in the pretty near future. Okay? How about one more?
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Smithsonian, I know that your administration is seeking to weed out a lot of this left-wing spin that's in the museums, but we're seeing from people like Brian Stelter or other commentators that they're insinuating that you are trying to change history according to your narrative. What's your response to that, and is there anything you particularly like to do?
Well, we want the museums to treat our country fairly. We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner, which is what many of them, not all of them, but many of them are doing. Our museums have an obligation to represent what happened in our country over the years, good and bad, but what happened over the years in an accurate way. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Cut it out right here. Thank you, Fresh. Thanks, guys. Cut out right this way, right this way. Thanks, guys. Keep coming.
You see the video of the sandwich thrown at the officer?
All right. Well, we are driving through Florida's ranch lands. We've already been through Arcadia, Florida. You guys got to see that cute little cow town. And well, it's not so cute, but it's under construction. Hi, LaDonna. Thank you for joining me on today's Beach Report, which is a drive through Florida, through the ranch lands. There's some cows. We got lots of cows, lots of farms, some really beautiful farmland. A lot of people don't realize how gorgeous Florida is when you're not at the beach. You can be in the middle of Florida and you are in the middle of the United States of America's breadbasket. Although I gotta say, to your right, we are coming up on a jail. I believe this is DeSoto jail. And it's pretty nasty looking. There it is. There's the Florida jail for you. It's not Alligator Alcatraz, but it is good old, DeSoto Correctional Institution. Yeah, it's not an institute. It's an institution. Yeah, you don't want to go there. Oh, hells no. It's pretty big, too. So, a lot of criminals in that jail. I would hope they're all criminals. Well, except for the people who work there. I don't understand wanting to work in a jail. That just seems like not a good job. What do you think? Yeah, moo to you, Donna. Moo to you. So, hello everybody. I'm on my way to Jupiter, Florida right now. And tonight we're going to have a good time. We are going to see First Generation Band, some of my best friends. And I've been covering them. I guess it's their first anniversary. It seems like I've known them forever. But anyway, that'll be super fun. And then after that, Smokin' Renegades. So get ready to dance and sing, because that's what we will be doing. So great, though, to hear President Trump talking about how he is actually making America great again. And the whole Social Security thing really resonates with me, because I'm going to be 60 years old this year, which means pretty soon I'll be up for Social Security myself. So I think it will be great to be elderly in America. I'm certainly on my way. Wait, can you guys hear and see me? Not sure. Let me know. Give me a sound check. Okay, I'm going to show you the clouds up ahead are looking pretty sinister. And there is definitely some rain going on up there. So I could use a good old Florida car wash. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, the Ranchlands made my car pretty dirty. It's the anniversary of the new owners at Double Roads 1 year. Okay, thank you. I knew that there was an anniversary of some sort going on, Donna. Thank you. Anyway, this is a very common sight out here in the Ranchlands, where you're going to see some pretty big black clouds in the afternoon on a summer's day. It is summertime here in South Florida. It is beautiful though. This is some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen. I love to drive through. I love to see all the big palm trees and the farms and the cows and the wildlife, and every now and then you even get to see a gator. He's usually dead, but you see him. Thank you guys for coming with me on my drive today. It's always nice to have company. Yeah, we've got some neat looking clouds up ahead. You can see where it's very gray to the right that it is raining over there. That's the funny thing about Florida. You can have total sunshine over here and pouring down bursts of rain over there. Hi Charlie, good to see you, my friend. We got some crazy cloud coverage. Hey, check these clouds out over here, you guys. That's weird swoopy clouds. So strange. These are looking pretty black. They're gonna burst at any moment. I do not love to drive in the rain. Soon it's gonna rain. I can feel it. I can sing songs. I have to move some stuff around. That's why my car is so full today. It's what happens. I want to get rid of all the stuff. There's too much stuff in my life. How do you guys get rid of stuff? I don't like to just give it to Goodwill. I don't think Goodwill does right by your stuff. So, I'm so stoked because I'm becoming a publisher. You know, that book that I was working on, Still Standing by Joshua Hayes, it's finished. It's in production right now. I sent it to the printers today. So I am in a celebratory mood, but not for too long because I already have another book that's coming up, and that book's going to be just as amazing, but way, way different from Joshua's book. The next is a love story. Well, not so much a love story, but I call it Unrequited Love in poetry form. It's actually a poetry book, but it's about unrequited love. So it's so interesting how this writer